we really need to differentiate between the fact that we have all kinds of Latino families. If we're going to focus just for a minute on Latino families, I'm equally interested in Vietnamese families and Hmong families and how we make all kinds of families feel welcome. But to focus for a minute on Latino families, there's a wide range of diversity within that group. Not only diversity in terms of home country, so it could be Cuba, it could be Puerto Rico, it could be Venezuela, but not all Latino families are immigrant families. So there are families that have been here for 5 generations. And when we think about outreach programs, we need to sort of really study, just the way we do in anything, what is the population that I'm working with like? If we're talking about immigrant populations, there may be the notion that maybe I have to pay if I go to the library, so I don't go. Maybe I don't speak English and I'm afraid that the librarian's going to ask me a question and I'm going to look like incompetent in front of my children, you know? I asked a teacher who worked with a group of students in Nevada one day when the librarian said, well, I'm just really discouraged. I have a bilingual story hour and nobody's coming. And so I said to this young teacher, why aren't they coming? And she said, what I hoped she would say, they're afraid. They're afraid. You know, we don't like to put ourselves in situations where we feel we might be humiliated. And so there's very goodwill on the inside of that library or that school. How do we extend that? You know, and it's the same issue, frankly, that museums are working with now. How do we reach out to populations that perhaps previous generations were ambivalent about? And what excites me now is the number of teachers and librarians that are excited, that really want to serve the whole population. So how do we do that? Well, we set a tone, I think. Sometimes it means we have to leave the library. So I have a lot of librarian friends who do all kinds of outreach at community centers. They go to churches, they go to social service agencies, they go to medical clinics and start talking about books and start saying, come over to the library. I'm going to be there when you get there, you know. Programs that make parents feel welcome. I remember a program in Redwood City, California, where I was to talk to a group that it was an existing group, it was an outreach group. I think that these were primarily families from Guatemala, and the library had done a lot of outreach, and they had picked a time, it was an evening time that was convenient for families. And so what we did was I talked to the whole group in Spanish, and then the parents had time to wander around the library, and the students did a craft. Then we all came together again, and it was a book about the desert. It was a book called Listen to the Desert, Oye al Desierto. And we all read the book together, and the students used the little puppets, the little you know, lizards and frogs that they had made during the craft period. So it was a positive experience for everybody. And then they had a grant which allowed them to give students a book. And I remember the mom who came up to me and she said, in Spanish, I want to congratulate you for writing this because I can read this book to my child because it has the Spanish and he can read it to me in English.